In 2015, a Chinese billionaire walked into a Christie's auction in New York and bought a painting for $170 million. He settled the bill by simply swiping a credit card. That single purchase generated 132 million air miles, enough to fund 100 first-class round trips between London and New York. The card behind that transaction was the American Express Centurion, also known as the Black Card. It is a membership reserved for the Global One. When another member wanted the specific horse Kevin Costner rode in the film Dances with Wolves, the concierge tracked the animal to a ranch in Mexico, purchased it, and shipped it across the ocean to the member's home in Europe. In a market dominated by massive infrastructure giants like Visa and Mastercard, one company has built a monopoly on the ultra-wealthy that its competitors physically cannot copy. To see how, we have to look at the plumbing of the financial world. Most people assume all credit cards work the same way, but the industry is divided by a hidden architectural choice. Visa and Mastercard operate what is called an open loop. In this system, the card company is just a middleman. Your bank provides the loan, the merchant's bank handles the business side, and the card company simply acts as the toll booth connecting them. This model allows for massive scale because the card company takes no financial risk. However, it also means they have no direct relationship with the person swiping the card. They don't even know your name. American Express uses a closed loop. They are the issuer, the lender, and the processor all at once. By removing the middleman banks, the system shifts to a triangle, where Amex is directly connected to both the customer and the merchant. This direct connection gives Amex total control over the experience and the fees it collects, but it also means the company carries the entire financial risk themselves. The loop only functions if the customer believes the company will honor its word under any circumstances. In the early 1900s, wealthy travelers didn't carry bundles of cash across the Atlantic. They relied on traveler's checks, pieces of paper that banks across the world promised to trade for local currency. When World War I broke out, that system collapsed. Panicked European banks shut their doors and refused to honor any American financial papers, leaving 150,000 travelers stranded. Billionaires who owned mansions in New York were suddenly penniless in Paris. Men who owned yachts were forced to sleep on the streets because the paper they held was treated as worthless scrap. While every other bank retreated, American Express kept its offices open. They handed out gold and cash to anyone holding their checks, fulfilling their financial word even as war moved across the continent. Half a century later, that integrity was tested again by a conman named Tino De Angelis. He tricked Amex inspectors into certifying storage tanks that he had filled with seawater and a thin layer of floating vegetable oil. He used those fake receipts to borrow $150 million from dozens of banks. When the fraud was discovered, Amex had no legal obligation to pay back the banks that had issued the loans. But CEO Howard Clark decided that the company's reputation was worth more than the $60 million it would cost to make those banks whole. Investors fled, and the stock price crashed, but Warren Buffett saw an opportunity. He realized that by paying for a fraud it didn't commit, Amex had given the world irrefutable proof of its reliability. He moved 40% of his fund into the company. These historical stress tests proved that Amex would accept catastrophic losses to protect its clients. This established an ironclad level of trust that allows their closed-loop system to dominate the high-end market today. Today, that trust is the fuel for a modern economic engine. Because ultra-wealthy spenders know Amex will never break a promise, they keep the card in their wallets and use it for their largest purchases. This creates a flywheel. Since Amex cardholders spend significantly more than the average consumer, the company can charge merchants higher transaction fees. Businesses pay these premiums because losing Amex means losing their most profitable customers. Those higher fees are then funneled back into the cardholders through elite lounge access and the legendary concierge service. The more the wealthy spend, the more rewards Amex can provide, making the card even more essential to the 1%. A brand is a kept promise. Its value is determined by how a company treats that promise when things are no longer convenient. Trust isn't built during the quiet years of growth. It is forged during moments of crisis, like the outbreak of a world war or a $60 million fraud. The penalty Amex paid in 1963 was an investment that has compounded for decades. It transformed a piece of plastic into a financial tool that the most powerful people on the planet will wait in line to carry.